Hello, Outbound. I've released the second full-length Grand Canyon rim-to-rim video on the channel. But of course, there are more than two ways to accomplish that challenge. I'll do a rather deep dive on the subject. I'll list all of the possible configurations and provide applicable details. And I'll rank them by difficulty at the end of the video. Many people would at least be aware that Grand Canyon National Park was large, but they might not truly comprehend how large. If we disregard a few ginormous parks in Alaska, because it's just Alaska being Alaska, Grand Canyon is the fourth largest of the contiguous 48 states. It's really only behind Death Valley in California, Yellowstone in Wyoming, and Everglades in Florida, in the same order. End to end, Grand Canyon National Park covers roughly 278 miles of the Colorado River. From Lee's Ferry in the east to Pierce Ferry in the west. However, I'd bet that most everyone's first visit was likely to Grand Canyon Village. Which would make sense due to the extensive infrastructure and services. Yes, my first visit was to this same location, but it wasn't the 2017 full-length video. It was a decade earlier. Of course, I was a lot younger. I also didn't do any hiking, but the Grand certainly left a memorable impression. So, Grand Canyon Village on the South Rim and the corresponding North Kaibab on the North Rim are connected by what the park refers to as the corridor trails. Those are Bright Angel and South Kaibab trails on the south side and North Kaibab Trail on the north side. There are, of course, other trails elsewhere within the park that go below rim, but the corridor trails are the most frequently used to do so. Okay, I'll give you the stats for each one. First, we have the Bright Angel Trail, which follows a nameless side canyon from South Rim to Colorado River. It's 7.8 miles, losing 4,718 feet. According to the park, this is the most popular way for people to enter the canyon. Next, we have South Kaibab Trail, which descends a spectacular ridge to reach the river from South Rim. This one goes down 4,741 feet in 6.5 miles and is the second most used after Bright Angel Trail. Those stats also mean that South Kaibab Trail is steepest out of the three trails. Finally, the North Kaibab Trail from the North Rim. During the top section, it tracks a nameless side canyon and eventually joins wider and flatter Bright Angel Canyon the rest of the way. North Kaibab Trail is longest at 13.9 miles, also loses the most elevation a formidable 6,542 feet, which is due to the north rim being much higher than the south rim. Fittingly, North Kaibab is the third most popular descent choice. But a cool fact about this trail, the North Kaibab Trail, is even though on average it's not as steep as South Kaibab Trail, it does feature the single steepest segment between two checkpoints or landmarks, which is Supai Tunnel and the Red Wall Bridge, being 1,333 feet of elevation per 1 mile distance. Okay, just a few additional notes for the purposes of this video. The way they're designed, only the North and South Kaibab trails actually meet at the Black Bridge, but Bright Angel Trail ends at River Restau. From there, one must continue on the River Trail. However, for the different rim-to-rim routes I'm about to list, I'll use the specific three-way intersection near Bright Angel Campground as the switch between descending to ascending. It means that a south rim to south rim trip will involve briefly crossing to the north side. I think most people will probably do that anyway for water and restroom use. Plus, it's damn cool to walk those iconic bridges. Okay, now that you're familiar with the corridor trails, here are all 9 possible rim-to-rim configurations. First, going from one rim to the other, or inter-rim. Next, we have the simple out and back group, basically descend and return to the same trailhead. Lastly, the 2 south rim ones, which involve different trailheads. You can see that I've included the distance and elevation loss gain numbers. By the way, of these, I've done 5. And I should disclose that North Kaibab to South Kaibab and South Kaibab back to North Kaibab, I did as a single rim to rim to rim 2-night trip. Likewise, the BA to NK and NK to BA pair was also done on a single trip, but including only 1 night. Yep, definitely more rim-to-rim videos whenever I can get to them. So, even though Grand Canyon is breathtaking, it's also a very dangerous place. Thus, it's extremely beneficial to be aware of the risks with each corridor trail and general dangers. First, some of the Bright Angel Trail challenges. One needs to mind the distance. And during the first 4.5 miles, there's only seasonal potable water at the rest houses. There aren't any other sources I'm aware of. Havasupai Gardens is mile 4.5. It's supposed to have drinkable water year-round. Then no potable water for the next 4.8 miles until one crosses the river. Of course, there are creeks or streams and the Colorado itself to filter. Alright, moving on to the South Kaibab Trail. It has no water of any kind for 6.5 miles until being able to filter directly from the river. Or go another 0.3 mile for year-round potable water right after the three-way junction. Compounding that lack of water, South Kaibab Trail is also mostly exposed. Larger trees are generally absent, starting from around Skeleton Point and below. Any shade comes from hiding beneath cliffs or high walls. Finally, although the South Kaibab Trail is short, or because it's short, it's rather steep by losing 4,700 feet in only 6.5 miles. And steepest is between Ua Point and Cedar Ridge. Alright, if the North Kaibab Trail is involved, rim-to-rim hikers need to know the following. Having water is not the greatest concern because starting from the Roaring Springs Junction, streams, creeks, and runoffs will become available. Especially once you get into Bright Angel Canyon proper, the trail pretty much follows Bright Angel Creek the entire way. But in terms of already filtered water, it's available year-round in the Phantom Ranch Bright Angel Campground area. Otherwise, at major checkpoints above Phantom Ranch, including the North Kaibab Trailhead, potable water will be seasonal. The park usually turns that on between May through October. More than water, though, the North Kaibab Trail has two major problems. First problem is fairly obvious, its length. We're talking about 13.9 miles one way and 27.8 when doing rim-to-rim using only the North Kaibab Trailhead. The second menacing specter is a trail section called the Box. So if we look at the backcountry brochure map, it appears as though the box is only from the Clear Creek Trail junction to the second footbridge. Before I move on, the box is describing when canyon walls on both sides become much higher and have a slight negative tilt, meaning they close in on the canyon. With that in mind, when you actually hike through this area, you recognize that the walls remain high and the canyon more narrow all the way to the fourth footbridge. It's generally above that point the canyon opens up. And you get gentle slopes both sides. But back to the box, what it does is it traps hot air and increases the temperatures more than ambient. So from the Clear Creek Junction to the Fort Footbridge, as I've clarified, that's around 3 miles. Thus, you want to carefully time your attempt to clear that section and avoid it basically during the hottest hours of the day. Alright, mentioning the box perfectly leads me to the next topic, which is heat. And I want to begin by pointing out that even though one is starting from rather high elevations, being cold won't matter much because the individual will be hiking and descending. Related, it's crucial to always recognize this is a desert. The heat can get extreme farther down. And personally, I already ascended South Rim 3 times during a typical June day through both Right Angel and South Kaibab trails. And the oppressive heat wouldn't really let go until just a few hundred feet under the rim. As the data somberly shows, heat-related rescues and deaths are common at the Grand Canyon. The next hazard is, of course, the dangerous drops along all 3 corridor trails. Many rescues and deaths also occurred from people falling off cliffs. But the statistics reveal a notable observation, which is this type of incident usually happens more on the rims than below. Another obvious issue is any rim-to-rim trip will be an inverted hike, which can deceive and lure hikers with an easy first half, while the second half becomes a great struggle or even a dangerous one. Okay, I think logistics are only a minor issue. And a part of that is due to it being different based on someone's personal situation. But of course, the hardest planning is gonna be for a lone hiker with just one vehicle. In that case, it's possible to hire a service for transportation between the rims. However, I'll admit, as a one-car hiker, I've never done that. Anyhow, of course it's better for parties to have 2 vehicles. But do realize that it's still 200 plus miles of driving between trailheads. The last risk will be the wildlife. Expect scorpions, snakes, and spiders. Just be mindful where you place your hands or sit down. Mountain lions do roam the area, but it's very rare to see them or come across them. And black bears don't live below rim within the canyon. But, I think overall, incidents involving animals are probably the most uncommon of all of the risks. I'd consider high temperatures or heat to be the most detrimental, with water a close second. Alright, now that we are more familiar with what's involved, we can start ranking the rim-to-rim configurations. But before going through all of them, we can have some fun by matching up pairs that are easily comparable. For example, we know that going from Bright Angel Trailhead to South Kaibab is definitely easier than from North Kaibab to South Kaibab. Largely due to the distances and logistics. Another easy matchup, going from South Kaibab to Bright Angel, is certainly less effort than North Kaibab to Bright Angel. Of course, the determining factors for this pair are: 1. The North Kaibab trail is twice longer than the South Kaibab trail, with the second factor being the box, and number 3 is logistics. The third comparison we can do is between from South Kaibab to North Kaibab versus from Bright Angel to North Kaibab. And for this one, I'm convinced that the former is easier than the latter, simply due to total distance. Yes, South Kaibab completely lacks water, but one is also only going downhill, so I don't think it's gonna be that much of a negative. Let's have two more easy matchup examples, with the first being South Kaibab to Bright Angel versus Bright Angel to South Kaibab. You can probably recognize that this is interesting because one is the reverse of the other. In my opinion, going down South Kaibab than up Bright Angel is easier based on the later ascent. Even though hiking up Bright Angel is longer than South Kaibab, the complete lack of water and constant exposure on South Kaibab are what make Bright Angel to South Kaibab the winner. Okay, the last one is going from South Kaibab to Bright Angel up against from South Kaibab to North Kaibab. I hope everybody can quickly determine that South Kaibab to North Kaibab definitely wins. But a reminder, North Kaibab is longer, has the box, and needs more logistics. With those 5 pairs in mind, we can start populating our difficulty lists. Alright, the hardest way to do rim to rim is very obvious, at least to me, is to go down the North Kaibab trail and return the same way. For me, this easily beats all of the other configurations, not only due to the box section, but more importantly, the overwhelming total distance required. And working off of number 1, I'm gonna call Bright Angel to North Kaibab being the second most difficult. Again, the distance involved is just a lot more than most that will appear on this list. Now, let's skip and move down to the very last, easiest configuration. We can actually use the matchup examples for this. Yep, that exercise wasn't for nothing. Can you guys see an obvious theme? That South Kaibab to Bright Angel is easier than at least 3 other pairs. So based on that, and considering the hiking stats, risks, and logistics, I'm gonna have going from South Kaibab to Bright Angel as the easiest way to attempt rim to rim. In terms of distance, I realized that it's actually longer than one other configuration, which will be our number 7. But can you understand my logic there? Don't you agree that to hike up the Bright Angel Trail is preferable or easier than to suffer the waterless, constantly exposed South Kaibab Trail? Okay, having 7 and 9 is actually very good because we can easily fill in number 8, which is to start from Bright Angel Trailhead, hike down to the 3-way intersection, and hike back up the same way. That's the second easiest rim to rim. I know you're probably yelling at me regarding the distance. It's certainly a lot longer than 7, that's for sure. As usual, I'm completely disregarding the initial downhill portion because there's just not a lot of effort there. And yes, you may have guessed that number 8 slightly edges out number 9 due to a longer first part. Okay, now I'm just gonna fill in 3, 4, 5, 6 because these are somewhat subjective versus the already determined ones. Of these, I'm most sure about number 3. Again, to consider only uphill, ascending North Kaibab Trail must be harder than either of the trails on South Rim. Okay, now that we've settled 1, 2, 3, and 7, 8, 9, we can apply all of the same logical reasoning to places 4th, 5th, and 6th. 5th is easier than 4th place due to hiking up Bright Angel Trail being easier than the South Kaibab Trail. 5th and 6th are probably the most interchangeable. I'm just giving a slight edge to North Kaibab to Bright Angel because of longer distance, having to deal with the box and logistics. Great. We now have the ranking by difficulty list. Sure, it's my opinion, but I do hope you comprehend the reasoning behind it. And looking at the list, one observation I have is that whenever the North Kaibab Trail is involved in a rim-to-rim attempt, it's gonna be one of the harder ones. Same as other videos of this series. Let's conclude what we've learned. At Grand Canyon National Park, the corridor trails are North Kaibab, Bright Angel, and South Kaibab trails. They link the two most developed areas. Individually, the North Kaibab Trail can be considered hardest due to distance, elevation gain or loss, and the box obstacle. But comprehensive difficulties are being inverted hikes, deadly desert heat, precarious drop-offs, logistics, and dangerous wildlife. Using those corridor trails, there are 9 rim-to-rim configurations one can attempt. With leaving from the North Rim, hiking down the North Kaibab Trail, and returning the same way being the hardest. And going from South Kaibab to Bright Angel is the easiest way to attempt rim-to-rim. So, good luck to those of you who wanna try these. Myself, maybe one day I'll come back to attempt the other 4 I haven't done. Until the next video, be safe out there.